That's fine.
Once we start, I'll...
No, you can do it.
I felt...
Hello, welcome to Everyday Experts. I am your hostess with the mostest, Sir Joker, and today I have a very wonderful and darling young lady with me, and we have the joy of actually having her in studio. That was a double entendre. See, joy, having Joy in studio. But first, for my introduction, I've known Joy since probably 2009.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Since 2009, when I got my first tattoo. This was not my first tattoo with her after my first book came out. She did the fist. If you don't know, that's a fist holding a pen. She's going to touch it up soon, though.
High wear area.
Yes, it's a high wear area, apparently. So we're going to learn all about tattooing and the art and what she's taught me about tattoos. And at this point that I really don't even tell her what to do anymore. I just give her an idea and I just like do it. And she's like, oh, how do you like that? I go, okay, whatever. And she does the tattoos. It's like, I have an idea. And when she says that, I know it's going to be boss. Like I was saying, this is one of my really good friends. I've known Joy a long time. I trust her with my Bardi orc. So I trust her a lot. She's tattooed myself. She's tattooed Patty probably about 10 times now. I think we're up to 20-something tattoos.
Patty said she's stopping at 10.
Patty said she was stopping at 10 tattoos ago. So Patty's at 20. And me and Joy are probably at 20, 25 tattoos, not counting the small ha-has on my sleeve, which we're going to talk about. She is a lover of Archer. She is a lover of the Weasel from the Suicide Squad. She is a lover of all things that are light blue. For some reason.
Teal.
Okay, yeah, teal or light blue. She likes possums in inordinate amount. She loves animals. She's trained animals, trained dogs. She's raised squirrels. I could effuse about Joy for hours. I do love her dearly. She's a really great friend and one of the nicest people I've ever met in the world. So, in studio, please welcome Joy Edwards. Boom! Hi, Joy.
I didn't know there was going to be a video I would have put eyebrows on.
That's okay. The eyebrows are amazing. I see them.
Yeah, they're tattooed on now, but you can't tattoo them on too dark or else they look like... By the way, this is my new business card.
Did you schedule an appointment? So show it to the people.
It's a possum coming out of a trash can. It says,
she's all about possums and the possum life. There are a lot of things that we're going to go get into with Joy.
Hi.
You'll bring it. Maybe I'll bring Emo to the shop so you can meet her.
And see all the teal.
I tried to find a picture of her actual station where she tattoos, but I couldn't find one. Thank you. I designed it myself. I didn't.
I stole it off the internet.
She stole it. She's a klepto.
Somebody posted it, and I was like, hey, that's cool.
Joy Nona Wider, we're going to start calling her.
Are we?
No, not at all. Catherine's also a very good artist, actually.
Oh,
yeah, I think I got to show you some of her pictures. She's a very good artist.
He says that he's like, oh, and she crochets. I'm like, no, I don't. I tried once.
She felt.
It was a screaming match at work.
And it was fun.
No, was it?
It's always a scream. So it's always a screaming match at work.
Yeah. Well, just anytime any of us makes a noise, one of us just goes, ah!
I think I've been to about 4 or 5 studios with Joy that I can think of off the top of my head. So let's get into it. Are you ready?
Yes. I'm trying to find the picture. I just took a picture of my station. It's funny. Okay.
So you can keep looking for it. Yeah. So the first question.
Yeah.
If you could be a vampire, a werewolf, or a wolf, a zombie, a ghost, or a serial killer, which one would you be and why?
I would be Weasel from the Suicide Squad.
That could be your second answer, but I need you to answer one of those
like
first.
27 children.
We're not trying to encourage the murder of children. This is a disclaimer. We're not encouraging the murder of children.
One of your answers was a serial killer.
Yes.
Werewolf.
A werewolf, why?
I like doggies.
She does like dogs. So you'd be a wolf.
Yeah.
So you'd be a person that can transform into a wolf.
Sure, yeah. I would.
Okay.
You could scratch behind your ears better. You don't have to sit for hours to get your nails done.
That's true. Well, maybe if they get really long.
I mean, no, you just, walk on concrete.
You could do that. That's facts. As a young kid say.
Is that what they say?
They say facts. Yes. Let's see.
Hello.
Oh, I'm an icon. Thank you. I think she was talking about you.
So James and Dana's youngest son.
Mm-hmm.
Now he says hello.
Oh, he's British?
Apparently, but he just like randomly do like hello.
All right. So, what was it like growing up, Joy?
There was a lot of random animals. I would just bring home stuff all the time. I had a raccoon, brought home squirrels, possums. I drew when I was since I was like 3. And my dad.
You started drawing when you were 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dad adopted me when I was he's been in my life since I was probably about like a year and a half, maybe 2. And he would tell me all the time I was going to be a tattoo artist. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like,
what are you talking about? You're so stupid.
Like, what if I mess up? I mean, I'm sure I wasn't saying it as well as that because I was 3.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, oh, you're going to be a tattoo artist. It's going to be great. And I was like, nah, pass.
So you didn't have that desire from when you were a wee lass?
No, not at 3. I don't think many 3-year-olds have much like career goals in the way of like realistically, this is what I'm going to do. Like, it's like I'm going to be a dog therapist. Oh wait, I did study canine psychology. Anyway.
But you did do that.
I did do that. Okay. So I'm going to be a dog hairstylist. No, that's a thing. Oh my god.
See, people know that. You do have a lot of careers, and we'll get into that and a lot of things.
I'm going to be a unicorn. That's what like 3-year-olds think. Like I'm going to be the president, an astronaut, or a unicorn. I
think you're halfway to unicorn. If unicorns were teal, I think you would be a unicorn. So your parents adopted you at 3.
Well, my dad did. My mom is my biological mom. My dad adopted me when I was 3.
Okay.
But he didn't legally adopt me till I was 7 because adoption is obnoxiously long taking.
Yes.
Even when all parties are like,
do it.
Yeah, it's still like, nope, fill out all this paperwork. Oh, we lost it for funsies.
Oh, you mean you wanted me to keep that in the court?
Oh, was your social security card in that? Oh, and your birth certificate. Guess you just don't exist anymore.
You got to get new ones.
That's the worst. It's way worse.
What was that process like for you? And
getting a new social security card?
No, not getting a new social security card. Going through the adoption process. What was that like for you?
I was 7. I don't really remember it.
Okay. Heaven came home.
Hi, Heaven.
Heaven's annoying.
I don't remember it. Stop it. I don't really remember that because it was just kind of like, hey, go. My uncle was the lawyer, so a lot of times we would just go to Aunt Ann and Uncle Bill's, and then, we'd I would get a lollipop, and that was great. That was just great. And Aunt Ann and Uncle Bill had a pool too, so going over there more often was just fine by me.
So the simple things.
Yeah.
How has your relation been with your biological parents?
I didn't talk to my biological dad till I was like 25, and it wasn't because his 3 other children, my older brother and sisters, died in a fire 6 months to the day that I was born.
Oh wow!
And my mom didn't know she was pregnant with me, and then when she found out she was, her doctor was like, "No, you're not." Oh. She's like, "I'm pretty sure I am. Have been like 4 or 5 other times." Like. He's like, no, you're not. So she didn't know for sure, didn't want to tell him. And then when he finally found out, he just, didn't think he'd be a good enough father for me. He felt guilty, and basically my mom said, you can be in or out, but you can't be both. In and out. Yeah. Wow. So, he stayed, and when I reached out to him, he was happy and we had a great relationship until he passed away. But yeah. Loved guns.
He loved guns.
Loved guns. Those were his last words to me. Don't open the trunk in front of people. It's filled with guns.
Well, that's interesting because you're not, as much as you are attracted to all things violent, documentaries, death, destruction, mayhem, Archer. Yes, too. I understand that. Hilarious. I know that's one of your shows. I literally watched probably like 4 seasons of Archer, getting tattoos with Joy at Lou's.
Lou's, yeah.
At Lou's.
Because we have the TV there.
Yeah.
And then they made it so all that could play on the TV was just like a commercial for Lose, like as if you're not already sitting in Tattoo Lose.
Come to Tattoo Lose. Oh wait,
like,
already here.
Crap, I'm here. This is an IHOP.
Oh man, I wanted this a short stack. So what is it like to have somebody who all the guns and he loves guns and that's just not really a jam?
I mean, I like guns. You know, like I enjoy rifles, like shooting range. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they weren't like I wasn't like, let's have a giant cabinet and a deer head on the wall, especially since I'm terrified of taxidermy. That was never going to work. But
and you also love animals.
I love animals, but the taxidermy just scares. I can't be near it. I just shake.
Really?
Yeah, that and statues. Not a fan.
You don't like statues?
I'm terrified of them. How do you not know that? You
I don't think I
knew
knew that.
You knew that.
And I don't remember that you didn't like statues.
Terrified of statues. Terrified of taxidermy.
Lord, child Jesus.
I know.
So how did you get in? You started drawing at 3. How did you really get into the art? The art stuff.
Well, I always liked animals. We didn't really have too many animals till we moved to Bayport in '94.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always drawing animals. My mom loved swans, so I drew swans all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. And then, we go to, when I was in Bayport, my mom worked at the library,
mm-hmm.
and there was a man named Tom there who was an artist, really good artist. Mm-hmm. And I think he was like a little younger than my older brother. So probably like 10 years older than me. And, the library had little like art classroom in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do like lessons with him like once a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forgot about that for a while. I just thought about that the other day.
So you were like formally trained?
I wouldn't say formally trained. I mean, it was, like a guy in the library. My mom's like, here's $20 to spend an hour with my child. And, he taught me things and we drew. And,
babysit for $20.
Yeah, well, I mean, but he was like I think he became an art teacher or,
Oh, wow.
Something like that. I don't remember. I wonder what happened to him. Huh. Anyway, yeah, that was what we did. And no, not really.
Catherine asked, are you scared of dolls too?
Yeah. I mean, there are some that just everybody should be afraid of because why would you make something that terrifying? Like Robert the doll. That's one of my favorite, I don't know if it's an urban legend or Robert the doll is terrifying. He's supposed to be like haunted or possessed or, yeah. Like
Annabelle?
Yes. But Annabelle was actually a Raggedy Ann doll.
I know. So we're going to get into that.
Okay.
This is, no. So.
I love crypto and paranormal. It's fun.
So much she does.
Not as much as possums.
Most dolls are scary. No. I like Annabelle. I like the whole story, but she's actually.
It's really an interesting story. I would love to go to the Lawrence Museum. We should do that.
We should do that.
I think it's like closed right now because of zoning. They wanted to like shut it down because they both passed and their son-in-law runs it. And they're like, well, how come it was fine when they were here? Like,
right.
It's not.
Gang. Oh, hey, Patricia.
Yeah, what is that? Because I had to do a tattoo.
Gang.
Me and Jen had to do matching tattoos. And
like we're all in the same gang?
No, it was like 2 girls. One got gang and one got bang bang. And Jen's like, do you want to do a gang bang tattoo? I was like, what? No, I don't want to do that. And she's like, I don't know. They sent it over. And it was just like scripts. And I was like, what is that?
Everybody's part of the Bad Joker gang that we associate with. So we mean,
did I do a tattoo for you without knowing it? I'm sticking with that.
No, I don't think you've actually done a Joker tattoo for me.
No,
I'm lying.
Never.
She's done a bevy. Have you done art classes in like school or anything?
No, I mean in high school.
Okay.
But when I was in high school, I did the BOCES. I went to BOCES, but I did it for animal sciences.
I love it.
It's an excuse to be not in school half the day.
No, but you love animals, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I thought I started tattooing at 17, and I did the vet thing. I started at like
vet
16.
Tech?
Yeah, well, it's not vet tech. It's like a pre-vet tech program.
Mm-hmm.
If you take 4 years,
mm-hmm.
you're like, I think it's like a pre-veterinary assistant or something. I don't remember
mm-hmm.
what the title was, but it was a lot of fun. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you'd go to the farm. We all got to work in the slaughterhouse on the farm.
In the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, you have to do everything.
How did
You
that?
don't really have to. You didn't have to slaughter anything. You had to castrate a piglet. The testosterone ruins the meat. You have to do it when they're like 3 days old. They really don't feel it because they're so young. But
they don't know it hurts.
They kind of like yelp, but that you spray it with like this. It's like a sterile solution that like kind of numbs it.
Oh, like the numbing cream and spray that they use for tattoos. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of that, I've heard.
There's one called Super Numb that we'll use, but everything else, like whatever you do not ever get to that in 1 second. Whatever you do not use somebody else's prescription lidocaine cream. We will not tattoo you. If you're taking somebody else's medications, we will not tattoo you. I feel like that shouldn't have to be said, but recently it's been a thing.
Well, I think people are so terrified of the urban legend of how much tattoos hurt. And some tattoos
suck.
Now,
yeah,
I've sat for a lot of tattoos, and we're gonna bounce back and forth because there's
He'll
a nature.
just randomly be like, ah,
yeah,
and I'm like, what? He's like, nothing. I'm just messing with you. I'm like, that's fun. That's fun. Usually when I'm like tattooing his back or like on his arm,
my back and my
chest.
face, my chest was.
You didn't love that.
No, not at all. My leg was pretty bad. I think that might have hurt the worst.
There's also that's the back of the calf. There's also there's days where you could sit for hours, and then I had a day where Stacy went to work on my foot 15 minutes, and I was like, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I didn't get enough sleep, hadn't eaten right. Well, it doesn't mean that it's, you can't sit, but some days are just better than others.
And I've also found out that if I have any kind of like aspirin, ibuprofen,
bleed more.
I do, but my skin also.
Oh yeah,
my skin is very sensitive as it is.
Mm-hmm. Swell. You tend to the
swell
back
up.
of your leg swelled more.
Yeah.
Your lower arms don't really, but the back, and that's really common. A lot of women tattooing the thighs can only do like an hour or two because it swells so much because it is like more tissue. And it's, which, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad, but the thing is you'd rather stop than keep going into it. Cause if you keep irritating the skin, you're not adding any ink. You're just going to tear up the skin. Yeah. It's much better to go back in.
Yes. The way Joy so eloquently explained it. Hold on. Anyone answer her question?
Okay.
The way eloquently explained it is when you push the ink in between the second and third layer of skin, right? For the tattoo, or is it first and second?
I don't remember.
Okay. I think it's second and third.
I used to know.
Second and third, I think. But when it's not staying and your skin swells up, it rejects the ink and it pushes it back out.
Yeah, it's the skin really, it gets so irritated to the point where you're just irritating the skin. And no, there's not. And there's not a squirrel emoji either. It's either a chipmunk or a ground squirrel. It's although some people did get recently a German Shepherd emoji, and I was so excited, and it's not on my phone.
Did you update your phone?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you probably didn't update it.
I barely know how to use this thing.
You know how to use it.
So to become a tattoo artist, it was much more lax when I started in like 2003. Mm-hmm. Basically, my dad brought me to a tattoo shop and was like, "Hey, you're the apprentice here now." And I was like, "What?" Mm-hmm. And then he left.
Because he was so...
at the shop. And then I was at the shop. Okay, I guess we'll do this now. And like 17. Mm-hmm. And
scary? Was it scary?
Well, I worked for, and I don't say this about anybody, you know that, I worked for a horrible person. Mm-hmm. He was really, it turns out actually my boss and coworker, Stacy, Jen Anderson and Stacy Sharp also worked with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Stacy had left her house and like her job in Pennsylvania to come work for him. He's just very cruel, abusive. He was a thief, just Jen worked there after Stacy, and then I worked there after Jen. And, I remember my friend Gus that I worked with was like, you got to get out of here. This is bad. Like, this is, it was just every matter. Like, I was the same, maybe a year older than his daughter. And the stuff he would like say to me, it was like,
yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like, so that was, but.
He was the one I met or no?
No.
Okay.
Thankfully, you didn't meet him. He's passed since. Okay. His daughter is still a tattoo artist. She's incredible and a wonderful person. Mm-hmm.
She's good?
Yeah, she's great. Mm-hmm. But what was I saying? You basically,
you got dropped off, basically kicked out the car.
It's 1,000 hours now. I don't remember if it was technically supposed to be 1,000 hours or he just lied, because he would do that. He would literally just be like, "Oh, you just started on skin today? Great. You're going to go work in the Amityville shop by yourself and tattoo people."
Oh, wow.
And you were like, I'm not supposed to just be tattooing people unsupervised. So it's 1,000 hours before you can take your certification. The certification is a test you take every 3 months. Sorry, 3 years. Every 3 years.
Say, wow, that's pretty
Yeah,
intense. Test time.
And honestly, it's the same test for piercers, tattoo artists, and like cosmetic artists. You
'Cause
could pass it. It's. Do you know how to wash your hands?
No.
Like
I have you saying
there's
something.
there's some things. Now that you said it, I have to use it. I don't know why. It's like one of those things. Like if people crack their knuckles in front of me, I have to do it. If people say handstand, I have to do it. It's like, how do you wash your hands? Like how do you not how do you avoid cross contamination? Things like all very important, but the test is very like basic. They don't. Everybody always asks, "Oh, how do you prove you're a good artist?" The Board of Health does not care if you're a good artist. They care that you're not making people sick.
Yeah.
And if you're a bad artist, people aren't going to go to you. So.
Well, yeah, and it's word of mouth a lot. And
Yeah.
when you have people like actually promoting that you're good, it helps. But when people are like, don't go to them.
Oh, we got called. Nasty B words. I don't know.
You can curse.
Okay, nasty. Got called nasty bitches because this girl came in and she wanted like 3 separate tattoos. She's like, I don't know, but I might want this here instead, but I don't know, and I want this now, but like maybe I want this later. And Jen's like, well, if you want a tattoo in this area, like don't get it if that's not the one you want there forever. And the girl was like, yeah, but it means something to me. And Jen's like, I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything to you. It's just that if you're not sure that you don't want something bigger in that area, and it's just you wanted like something here, but then wanted like the whole forearm, which would really, impede what could go there in the future. Yeah. So she's like, I'm gonna go outside and think. And then they left, and then she called, and I answered it. She's just like, I just want you to know you're a nasty bitch, and I would never get tattooed by you, and I was like, I wasn't the person that talked to you. Like,
that's okay.
I was like, all right, have a good one. I'm sorry, and. It wasn't, Jen didn't do it. Jen is very passionate about making sure that you're going to get something because they're not, I just want this now. There is no just now. It is forever. Huh. Even though cover-ups are possible, even though removal is possible.
But side note, cover-ups hurt.
They hurt a lot
more than the regular tattoo.
A lot more.
It depends
and you're semi-limited. I've had people that are like, I don't ever want color. And it's like, the only thing I can color, like if you want me to cover that up, I'm probably going to need to do full color to hide it. Cover-ups generally have to be about twice the size of the original tattoo. It's, there's a lot that goes into it. So when your tattoo artist is saying, so I've had people like, oh, just because you don't like the area. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, the inside of the fingers, it doesn't stay. And not only doesn't it stay, it can,
hands and feet,
it can blow out, which means like the lines like blur, or it can fade out, or you'll get where like the top part of the word stays. And then down here looks like nothing, or it looks like a pen mark on your hand. Yeah. Because it's so faded, and then you spend the rest of your life, oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? Yeah.
And it's also a lot of people don't learn the process and don't learn about what is actually happening. I think for me, when I first, and I know you didn't, Joy didn't do my first 9 tattoos. Or maybe she did number 9. I don't remember, something like that.
My lucky number.
And what happened is that when I think people don't educate themselves about certain parts of getting a tattoo, that they make poor decisions.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And there's also, people will see tattoos on Instagram or the internet that are fresh. And just because a tattoo looks good fresh does not mean it's going to look great healed. Yeah. Like I have lettering on my leg that I did myself, incredibly small, to see how quickly it would bleed together. Within 4 months, it was completely illegible. Yeah. I still like it. It looks like stripes. Oh, that was kind of recently.
Patty asked, what's the worst tattoo you've had done?
I've done. I mean, worst. There's a lot of things that are like, people get silly things, and I don't judge that because there's so many things that like I have a rat on my arm. People are like, why'd you get him? And I'm like, his name's Mr. Squeakers. I love him. But like I did recently, it was letters with emojis for his deceased uncle. And I was like, are you sure this is what you want? And he got it like in this weird dripping font. And his name was just 2 letters. And the way the drip made it look, it made like the second letter look like a Y instead of what it was supposed to be. And I was like, are you sure? And he gave me the date. And I said, I always ask, like, what's the date? And he's like, oh, it's 8, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, all right, like, so August? Yeah. Do the tattoo. A week later, he calls me. Apparently October was the month, and I can't. And he wanted it so it was like 08.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even like I could just add a 1, and like kind of do a, like I was like, this is why I asked you like 8, and I said, is it August? Like
Mm-hmm.
no, it was 10. That was the worst one because it was just like I asked you like.
Shorty Bay. Oh,
it was like I asked you like 8 times for that exact reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because things like that had my first tattoo. I gave them the wrong date because I was so nervous. It was for my cousin's daughter, who was like a niece to me. Her birthday is November 11th, and my sister's birthday is November 12th. And I was so nervous. I was like, oh, it's the 11th. So I came home and I was like, Mom, they forgot a comma. She's like, where? I was like, behind the 11. She's like, what 11? I was like, Jill's birthday. She's like, your sister's birthday was the 12th.
Oh.
But luckily, since he forgot the comma, he was very easy to
put the 2 in.
So I get it. Things happen, but that's why we're very much like one kid told me he wanted his mom's name on his chest. It was like a heart, and it was like a mother holding a baby. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, what's your mother's name? And he's like, Lori. I was like, all right, how do you spell that? And I wrote it out. And she calls me like 20 minutes after he leaves, laughing hysterically. She's like, my name is Laura. He told you the wrong name. He's a sweetheart. I still tattoo him, and it's easily. We still haven't done it yet, but the way the script is, I can very easily change it into the IE into an A, like But she was just. He's like, oh no, she did the wrong name, and she's like, I'm not her mother. She doesn't know my name. If you told her my name is Lori, she thinks my name is Lori. Yeah, which is yeah. My favorite was one guy that came in. They spelt their child's name with a G or something, and it was like it was a name you wouldn't think started with a G, and it was like a debate between the husband and wife. So I do the tattoo. She loves it. He comes and looks at it and he goes, you spelt it wrong. And my heart stops. And she looks at him and she's like, no, I didn't. He goes, I mean on the birth certificate. Why did you spell our child's name like that? God. It was like a joke between them, but for a brief second, my heart just like.
Oh, I believe it. So you're going through the process of apprenticeship. Can you show off Mr. Squeakers again? My mom wants to see.
I don't really. Mr. Squeakers. I'm bad with this.
The camera's here.
Okay. That's Mr. Squeakers. He's a woodcut design. I have a werewolf woodcut design on my leg too. I love old-fashioned woodcuts.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That sounds so much fun.
I mean, it wasn't cut into my skin with wood. It's just the style of tattoo. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that one. Who's that?
I don't know. So just before you guys asked, I'm her favorite person to tattoo. She's not gonna.
Yeah, even though he's like 8 feet taller than me, and I have to scan the whole time I tattoo him.
Don't blame me.
Like I try to put a stencil on him. I'm like, can you bend down a little? Like I can't reach. I'm like jumping.
So the process. You went to the first guy who you apprenticed under, and then what happened after that? How did you go to your own shop?
After that, I ended up in. I want to say I went to Kopeg after that.
Okay.
For this guy, I'm still friendly with him. His name's Tony. I just haven't seen him in a while. I'm a nice guy. Still follow him. Still friends with him on Instagram. It was a place called Devil's Den in Kopeg. Really nice, but really far. It was kind of a quiet shop. Mm-hmm. Then I worked at Top Hat in Rocky Point, which was super busy until 2008 when the recession hit, and then it went from to debt. And it was kind of. And then, because I train dogs too, if I got like stressed out with tattooing, not quit. Napkins are fun. I would take a break from tattooing and go train dogs and, but I'd still tattoo with Top Hat and Rocky Point. I could I got an appointment. Can I come in and, do school with that? And things like that. And then after that, I worked in a shop in Bayport, which, I loved. For the longest time.
That was the first shop you tattooed me in?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
That was the owner was a sweetheart of a guy, but his wife was very into drugs and got him back into drugs after he'd been clean for a while. And this tattoo shop was in my hometown. My parents both worked. My dad worked for the school district at the time. My mom worked for the library. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I can't work here anymore. There's no way I can't be associated with this. I just watched you buy drugs in front of the shop. Wow. And that's Super 88. I think so. I think actually I know. My boss Jen might actually know the owner. sometimes it's like hard to like remember. You're like, oh yeah, so and so works there. It's like he hasn't worked there in 8 years, and you're like, all right, well at one point he did.
Yeah, I found that it's easier to identify by artist than by shop.
Yeah,
because they move around so much.
I mean, like
unless it's a shop they own.
Yeah, it's shop you own, or like right now, I really can't see myself leaving Impulsive because I love Jenny Stacy. The only thing, well, the thing is, we might be like kind of. We've mentioned like if we found a new shop, just because the building isn't like in the best shape, and but that's not like leaving the shop. It's like all right, collectively, like like improve. This is a better location, and we'd like to have another station for like guest artists.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But like right now,
like
I mean,
me.
I guess we could have a guest artist, but one of us would not be able to tattoo. Like,
are you all in every day?
No.
Now, because you weren't really before.
Right now, we're by appointment only for the most part, which is awesome. Like if I'm done at 6 o'clock.
Tattoo artist name is
Essay. I don't know. Also, I don't know. I know a lot. See, that's the thing. People go by nicknames. Somebody was saying to me the other day, like, "Oh, you know so and so," and I was like,
"No, I don't."
And they were like, "Yeah, Large," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, of course I know him. Like, I've known him forever." Like,
so
why are you saying his real name?
Since we're talking about nicknames,
yeah.
How do we get to this a bit? I mean, your wonderfully creative and clever nickname, Gordy House.
I did not give myself my nickname.
Okay.
So the Gordy, I'm a big hockey fan, and I was in.
Which team do you like? The Rangers, right?
Oh, cool. I'm a Devils fan. Who? Just trying to look at the score here, and my phone is just being awful. I'm a big Devils fan, but I'm a big, old time hockey fan. So Gordy Howe is my hero. I have 2 Gordy Howe tattoos.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have his face on the back of my right leg, and on and then on the left ankle, on the front, like on the shin. The day he died, I got his number with his autograph in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I think I've seen it. I've seen him. She has so many.
I've seen it.
How many tattoos you got?
I have no idea.
Guess. Give me a ballpark.
Well, it's really hard to say because, like, I have my knuckles tattooed in white and the sides of my hands, and it's like, well, is that one tattoo or is that many? I don't know. I have a lot of open space. My legs are pretty heavily tattooed. I have 2 on my back that are decent size. I don't know. I honestly don't know. People have, and we talked about this, and this is just silly. People have asked, how come I don't get the Joker face tattooed on me? And why won't you do I asked you about my hands too. So you said you wouldn't do my hands or my face. I don't want my face tattooed. It's kind of like a joke we've had. Yeah.
But how come you're not big into face tattoos and hands?
Well, here's the thing. There's a big difference between having tattoos and being a tattooed person. Tattooed people are generally people that either work in the industry or work, it is becoming much more not acceptable, but like accepted in the community. I had a kid come in, he was 18 and he wanted his first tattoo on his hand. And I was like, well, what do you want to do for a living? And he's like, I leave for boot camp next week. And I was like, that's a terrible idea. And he's like, why? And I was like, they're either not going to take you or they're, So I told him I was on his finger. I said, if you go outside and call your recruiting officer and he says you can do it, I'll do it for free. And you could hear that man screaming from inside that, like, he's outside on the phone just getting reamed out. And I was like, I'm not trying to ruin your life. I'm just trying I don't want to make your life any harder. And that's the thing, getting your hands and face tattooed. Most people don't care, but there are some people, and they will ask you questions, and they will, there's jobs that won't hire you. It's just better to know what you want out of life and to go for it, and then once you're secure and like, all right, now who cares? I'm going to get my neck tattooed. I'm going to get, like when I first started tattooing, my boss wouldn't tattoo forearms on women. Yeah. And it's like, a little more acceptable. I do hands a lot more than I used to. Actually, I didn't get this hand like my knuckles are tattooed in white. You can barely see them. Like this one's a little easier on the lower knuckle. Yeah, it's white ink for funsies. But I didn't get this one on my hand till I had been tattooing for like 10 years because I've had people like grab me in public to look at my tattoos. I've gotten nasty looks. It's and also another thing is it changes the way you look. So I've heard, people look in the mirror and they have like a big chest piece now, and sometimes they regret it. Most people don't, but it's it is something to think about because And if you're working in a healthcare facility or in the healthcare field, you can encounter some, less open-minded people that will judge your tattoos and make you think that you're not as good as your job.
Yep.
Which I once had a client that was like, well, that's not fair. And I was like, if you've gone this far in life and I'm the first person to tell you it's not fair, I don't even know what fairy tale you walked out of, because it's not fair, but it's the truth, and I'm not going to do anything to make somebody else's life harder. It's like names. I don't do names. I had a couple come in a couple weeks ago. They wanted each other's names. I didn't see any tattoos on either of them. They looked like they were 18. And he's like, oh, you don't ever do names? And I said, listen, you've been married for like 36 years and want, each other's names. Who am I to say no? And he's like, 36 years. I was like, this will still be there in 36 years, right? Yeah. Like, regardless. Mm-hmm. And I just, no, like, it's just not. First of all, I'm very superstitious, and that is, it's bad luck.
Yeah.
It's gets, and a lot of people love words. I mean, I have a lot of words tattooed on me because I like lettering, but like a lot of people are like, oh, like, I really love my grandma, so I'm just going to get her name. It's like, did you call your grandma Catherine? Like, why don't you do something that more represents her or your time together? Because there's much more. I mean, I've got nothing against lettering, but sometimes people are just so like, oh, I'll just get my husband's name.
Singular minded.
Yeah, I'll just get my husband's name because I don't know what else to get. It's like, what is he like? Yeah. What is he like that you wouldn't mind having on your body? Wow. Birth flowers are a big trend now. Oh. I like it. I mean, a lot of tattoo artists are like sick of it, but I think it's a nice expressive way.
Yeah, you like flowers.
I love flowers. My favorite thing's tattoo.
Is it? I'm sorry.
It's because
that's
you
awesome.
can do tattoos like flowers. You can do them in different styles. Mm-hmm. You black and gray. There's millions of different flowers. There's just so much you can do. No. I mean, I love doing pretty much except tribal. I do not do tribal.
Oh, I was going to ask you for a tribal around my neck. Yeah. She probably would. And that's interesting. When you have a tattoo artist you trust, I tell people all the time, I'm not going to cheat on Joy. Yay. Patty does love flowers a lot.
Who doesn't?
Not a huge flower fan. I like flowers, but...
Well, look, there's like a lot of things I love tattooing that I wouldn't tattoo on myself.
Why not?
It's not my style.
Okay.
It's, I'm actually getting a weasel tattoo. And...
Just go ahead. You want to talk about weasel? Go ahead, talk about weasel. Then we'll come back to the tattoos. Go ahead.
No, I'm getting a weasel tattoo. It's going to
be... Weasel, why? What? Go ahead.
So, Weasel in the comic books is nothing like Weasel from the movie. And it's hilarious. He's so great. In the comic books, he's just a guy.
You can leave it up for her.
In the comic books, he's literally just a guy that was at Stanford University. And it wasn't, as far as I've read, he wasn't like bullied. He just didn't have a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. So when he leaves Stanford and gets hired at another college, he works with like two other people that went to Stanford with him. And he gets it in his head that they were bullies. So he murders them dressed as a weasel. So he's just a guy in a weasel costume that's delusional and murdery. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, they were like, nah, it's just a 5.5 foot tall weasel. That's it. It doesn't speak. It doesn't do anything. It makes these cute little chitters.
What?
I love it.
What did you think of the movie?
I loved it. I really loved it. I loved it. I watched it like 15 times.
Why?
How do you not love it? I don't understand how you don't
I'm
love
not a fan of the squad. I'm not a fan of the team. I like the first one, the OG. See,
the first one.
I like the OG squad better.
I thought it was kind of boring. I mean, I definitely liked Harley Quinn. I really like the progression of Harley Quinn in the movies. She's really become herself, her own self, instead of just like a thing for Joker to kick around.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, because Joker's the man. Side note.
Sure. No, Weasel's the man, but he's not, because he's just a weasel. He doesn't do anything.
Go ahead. This is your interview, though. Go ahead, though.
So, I'm getting, it's like the old comic book. It's like teal and purple. It's actually really cool looking. And then it's the picture from the movie. I'll show it to you. It's hilarious. Literally, like if you go to my Google. Bless you.
Bless you.
Go away, Tom. Oh, sweet. We won? Oh. Yeah, Weasel Suicide Squad is my second search, only because I just searched something else. Sure. Yeah, well, sweet. We won an OT. Okay, the second I change off the thing. Oh, wait, that's it right there. So where the hell did it go? Okay, so it's like from the old comic book.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's Weasel from the movie. It's just so funny.
We were going to try to do that as a backdrop, but it wasn't working.
Isn't it hilarious? Look how funny this is. Wait, there we go.
I
love him.
Great. We
He's
love
so great.
Weasel.
But I do like a comic book thing.
She has this weasel addiction that we talk about every
It's
single.
so funny.
She talks about weasel like every other day on her Facebook page. I think you have to actually go and follow Joy on Facebook. It's interesting.
I'm actually doing a weasel costume for Halloween. I'm so excited.
Yeah, see, Gordy number 9. Facebook's Joy Love Edwards. That's almost a real government name.
It's my legal name.
I know. She goes by Gordy. I never call her Gordy.
Oh yeah, you asked me where I got my nickname. I forgot. The Gordy is from hockey because I played hockey for a while and I was in a fan group and that's what just everybody called me.
Yeah.
And then the J House came about from my ex-boyfriend's family, who I'm still very good friends with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke German to my German shepherds, and for some reason
right.
they'd be like, "J Hausen," like was what they call me.
Did you see John Wick 3?
No, I haven't seen any of the John Wicks.
She has the German attack dogs.
You know, it worries me. I don't like it. Every time there's a German Shepherd in a movie, the dog dies, and I hate that. But then they just started calling me J House or House, and I kind of had like a weird stalker for a bit, so I just started going by Gordy, Gordy, and then I was like, Gordy J House rounds out the business card nicely.
It does. That's a very interesting name, but like I said, Detroit totally got that one. I totally will not call her Gordy. I've always called her Joy. And I think it would be weird if I started calling her Gordy.
It's like 50-50. Half my friends only call me Gordy, half my friends only call me Joy.
But your name's Joy.
Yes.
But that'd be like you starting to call me Sir Joker.
Yeah.
It would be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I have no problem. A lot of people call me Joker.
I'd call you Joker, but it's it's like it's one of those things where it's like I've been calling you it so long, like.
So we talked about how you got into tattoos. What's your favorite tattoo to do besides tribal?
Flowers.
Around the arm.
Flowers. I love flowers. Neo-traditional or traditional, a lot of fun.
When they come up with the titles like traditional, neo-traditional, Japanese, whatever, they got like robotic ones.
You mean Organica and Biomechanical?
Biomechanical. I couldn't think of it.
Biomech. My friend Paul does incredible Biomech and Organica. His shop actually burned down a couple months ago. We just opened his new one. Felt so bad for him.
How did they come up with the names?
For the
styles, we'll call them. You don't know?
Well, traditional is traditional. It's what basically when tattooing first, happened. It was, the modernized version of tattooing, not Tabori, was bold lines, very few colors.
Okay.
And then neo-traditional is a little bit more like kind of it's the bold lines, but there's more to it. There's shading, there's highlights, there's a lot more to it. In Japanese, it's the culture. Polynesian. Like people have, I want
is
the
that
rocks.
The one with the little?
No, Polynesian is a style of tattooing.
Okay.
Tabori is the.
Tabori, yes.
I believe it's called Tabori. I could be wrong. I think it's Tabori. I don't remember. But yeah, people will be like, "Oh, I want the rocks tattoo," and I'm like, "That's his family crest."
Yeah.
And in the Polynesian culture, that's how they, so it'd be like getting my last name on you.
Right? Is that the bull?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
It's
that's neither. Yeah,
there's Celtic, there's Polynesian, there's and tribal is just.
So what do you do with people that want ridiculous tattoos? So if I come in and say I want a bright yellow sun on my chest.
Well, that's a matter of like there's a big difference between a tattoo I wouldn't personally get and a tattoo that's not feasible. So because there's tattoos where people are like, oh, you think it's dumb, and it's like, no, I just know it's not going to physically work. It's either not tattoo friendly, meaning it's too detailed. People are like, oh, I want this, but I want it this big, and it physically cannot be done that small. It will be a blob within weeks. It's there. I'll tell people like this isn't feasible, and this is why. I'll explain it to them. We have pictures. We have like fresh and healed, like a sheet where it's fresh and healed of like hand tattoos, finger tattoos, side of the foot tattoos to show people like this is what happens. It looks great the day of. Yeah, it
looks amazing.
But
then you got to live life.
Yeah, like and tattoo pigment is it's in your skin.
Yeah.
It's not on top of your skin.
Yeah.
So, the difference in skin tone is what's really going to dictate how color shows up on you.
So if me and Joy have any kind of, we'll give you an inside look. If we have any kind of debate about tattoos, it's probably what colors, and I don't fight. And what I don't do is I don't question her.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't not explain it either. I wouldn't.
No,
just
no,
be
no,
like,
I know.
No.
No. So if we're talking about certain colors, like red, I can do obviously because I want to do blood.
Reds,
I want to do
purples.
blood drops on everything.
He does like everything. He's like, you do this tattoo for my children. Put some blood drops in it.
It would add pop. It would add pizzazz.
It's like ballerina slippers for dancing and basketball and like a music note and like and just like a little bit of blood.
Just a little
bit of blood.
Splatter.
Okay. Whatever makes you happy.
And also, fun fact: I used to give Joy like 20 pieces of reference material.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love reference. Like I love it when people give me reference, especially like. People are like, oh, I want a rose. And I could draw a million different styles of roses.
Right.
You got to be like, hey, this is the kind I want an open rose. I want it to look realistic. I want it to look, like you need direction. People will come in and just be like, what should I get tattooed on me? And I'm like, I always just say like a bunny. And they're like, why would I get a bunny? I'm like, I don't know what you would get. Like if you tell me what you like or what you're interested in, I'm more than happy to help. And I will sit down and talk with you.
Yeah.
But if you just walk up like me, like, my car needs work. What sound's it making?
A sound.
I just figured I'd tell you that it's I feel like it needs work, and I don't,
Do you think people are naive about a lot of the aftermath of tattoos?
To some extent, yeah, because people will be like, "Oh, I want to get this tattooed done. I'm going on vacation." I'm like, "Oh, when do you leave?" And they're like, "Tomorrow."
It's dumb.
Like, do you not want to, like, I'm going to Aruba. It's like, well, enjoy being in the hotel room because you can't submerge it. You can't get sand in it. It's an open wound. It's a very pretty wound, but it's an open wound. And the way you take care of it dictates how it's going to heal. And tattoos aren't cheap.
No.
It's an investment. I always tell people, do your best, but life happens.
Yeah.
If anything, I walk into walls all the time. I'm not a graceful human being. Or I'll be like, when I got my eyebrows tattooed on last time, I was in the back drawing and they itched and I didn't realize it. And I did this and I literally like scratched off part of my eyebrow. I called the girl. I was like, I'm dumb. I'm so sorry. Is
that different? Could you do something like that?
No, it's a totally different style of tattooing. Like the way they color match is incredible. Mm-hmm. We color match, but she's literally like looking at my like hair, like,
mm-hmm.
And then like blending the colors, like little pinch of it, like it's insane. And she got it just right. They look like the lighting, like if I'm not wearing makeup, I don't do anything to them. But if I'm wearing makeup, I darken them up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But if they had been done darker, they would have I used to not have eyebrows. I had like spots.
She keeps saying she always says that.
No, I did not have eyebrows.
I'm not arguing with you. I just said you always say that.
Because I didn't. It looked ridiculous.
Again, this is your show. You're right.
I wasn't able to express any emotion.
So like your life.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. What is your favorite tattoo you've done on Patty?
I don't know. Maybe the lion.
Oh, the lion with the flowers around it.
So yeah, because that's just like three things that I love.
Lions and flowers and tigers and bears on mine.
Oh my. And Patty's hilarious.
Patty is Patty.
She's funny as hell.
I
was tattooing her one time. Somebody answered the phone when they were in the shower. She's like, "I'm gonna pray for you." I lost it. Oh, I like this one too. The rose. Yeah, I'm trying to look. I'm like looking through my Instagram, like dog picture. Yeah. Squirrel.
Oh my god, squirrels!
It's a squirrel. I love my squirrels. I miss them.
Is it interesting how our tattoo relationship has progressed where I really don't even give you any direction anymore?
I mean, it's because of our friendship too.
Yeah.
I have tattoo clients that I tattoo often, but I wouldn't say, we're not friends. We don't see each other outside of the shop. And I have friends that I've made through tattooing too. Mm-hmm. But it also depends on the people. There's some people that are very like particular and meticulous, and that's fine. People they're like, I'll put a stencil on and they're like, can you move it like a little bit? I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's going to be there forever. I'd much rather you say something now than be miserable. It is really not hard to adjust a stencil. If the paper's no good, I can print another. It takes 3 seconds. Not an issue.
What was your favorite tattoo you've done with me? I know which one it is. Let's see if you remember.
Are you going to say Predator?
No.
Okay.
You did love Predator.
No, I love. Well, I really like the one on the back of the leg with the Jokers. Oh yeah, I love that one. Oh.
Yeah, he did the one. She did the one
Kitty.
for my dad.
Swallow Kitty.
And it was a sparrow, a swallow, one of the birds. It was supposed to be a sparrow, but they look the same to me. So well,
I think it is. It is a sparrow. Swallows have the forked tail.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just these are the things that I don't argue about. Tattoo you're looking forward to? Well, okay. So full disclosure, as Rob Fishbeck would say, me and Joy are about 5 tattoos ahead. She probably knows the next 4 or 5 I want. Cause I give you like 5 or 6 new ones every time I see you.
Yeah. Sometimes I just like scroll through my phone, like, oh, I can draw that. Squirrel.
Oh, I have an idea. Matter of fact, so let's show her. We'll see. We'll get her reaction. So we'll do a simulation. So if I said, I want this.
See, that would be cool. We'd need a decent amount of space for that.
So everybody can see. I have a horror homage on my back.
It. Scares the hell out of his wife.
She loves it. She won't admit she loves it. She hates it.
She won't admit she loves it because she hates it.
And I'm trying to figure out. We've done the Predator. We've done Pennywise.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that one too.
We did Samara from The Ring.
That was fun. It look like she's crawling out of your shoulders.
Yeah. And some of that stuff, like we talked about, we've been talking about that for what, like 2 or 3 years.
Well,
right?
There's some times where it's like I can't figure out how to make it work, so I'll just put it off until and then sometimes it's just straight like, oh crap, now I know how to do that.
The Joker on this one was,
oh my god, that was yours. I kept drawing it and he'd be like, that's cool, and I'd rip it up and be like, no.
Then she'd be like, no, I don't like it, so everybody can see the Joker in the skull. This one was actually very
he didn't love it.
I did love it.
Well, you love the
well, that was one of the ones I gave you like 15, 20 references for. Oh, the pain was terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
The second session, I was like, I want to punch you.
Yeah, I was not happy.
She loves how much he hates it. Yeah, something like that. That was probably like 4 or 5 years of just going back and forth and trying to figure it out. And then when she was at one of our old tattoo shops, they gave us a ridiculous quote. So.
Yeah, I was like, no.
You were like, no, I'm not going to tell my friend that.
Like, no. Well, that's that's when I would work at Lou's. They would be like, tattoo would be like bigger, but it would take me 5 minutes because it was just like line work. And they'd be like, why'd you only charge this much for it? I'm like, because it took me 2 minutes. They're like, but you could have charged $200. And I was like, no. Yep. Why? I'm not a thief.
Have you ever met a tattoo artist with no tattoos, or is that something that doesn't exist?
It does exist. I've never met anybody. I think I know somebody. I know of an artist on the island that has none.
But I'd be skeptical. That's just me.
I think it's a lot. Like a lot of them, it's just they've seen all the bad things that can happen with tattoos, or like I like the little patchiness. Like I have many little tattoos all over the place. I like it. A lot of artists hate it. Yeah. So sometimes they'll wait till they have like a solid concept and then they just sleep. Yeah. Some art, like one of the guys I knew that had like he didn't have anything on his arms because he was like going to Sweden or somewhere to get something like huge done by a really good artist. So he was like A, saving up, and B, like saving his skin. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a matter of like, no, I don't want tattoos, I'm not committing. It was just they were more committed to like, this is the art I want and this is how I want it, and like that. I'm not gonna, it never settled. People try to settle all the time. Yeah. It's like, please don't settle. Like there's no need to settle. We can figure out what you want. Sometimes people like, oh, I want it now. And it's like, well, now is forever. So think and take your time. I'm not 100%. Going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think
tattoos aren't going anywhere.
No. I have one tattoo that we did from Flash, and that's it. All the rest of them, I want to say, if we've talked about it, we've talked about it probably like 3 or 4 times easily. What? And the tattoos you've done for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's never anything that I've rushed into, and I have a lot of people like, and that now we're at the point where I can just be like, okay, Joy, do this. And Joy will figure out, what do you want it? I go, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And there'll be times when I'll literally walk in, I'm about to sit down in the chair. She's like, where do you want it again? I was like, oh, you didn't pick?
I didn't pick. Well, that, and I also, it takes me a minute to realize my left from my right, and I'm like...
She's like, yeah, on your left arm.
Left arm. I gotta do that. Well, because you're setting up, and the person standing across the counter from you, and like half the time you're like, oh yeah, that's not the left side. That's not gonna work.
Nope.
You just on like a lot of stuff you like set up as autopilot because you have to make sure everything's covered and sterile, and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, wait, I'm not like that's my later appointment, or that's the tattoo I did yesterday.
I do like to think that I have unique tattoos, so I don't think you get mine confused because I'm sure I'm the most Joker tattoos you've done on somebody. I'm just saying.
Usually.
So the last question about tattoos: how did the idea for my sleeve come about? Because full disclosure, we weren't planning on doing a sleeve when we started it. It wasn't, oh, this is going to eventually be a sleeve.
Yeah.
It was, oh, let's just do it.
I think it was the Killing Joke. Mm-hmm. Wasn't that like the artwork from that?
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do that.
Yeah.
Where it's just, because the Joker's really cool with the artwork, how it's very kind of just like splotchy. So it's, he chose like some of his favorite Joker quotes throughout like all of like the movies and everything. Yeah. And then we did like a lot of the, like we overlapped it. So like it'll say like ha ha ha. And then behind it, it'll say it in red.
Let's see if I can show them. So I have it in red.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, see?
So it's the red, and we did the black, and we did the quotes, and we did like all of this stuff. Like this is one of the tattoos Joy didn't do for Devin, but she actually went over it. Yeah, so now it's a her. We give her credit.
Now it's a her.
All right. I think we talked tattooing to death.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of your other stuff because you have a lot of stuff. She did that like in 10 minutes while I was bothering her.
It's Weasel.
It's Dweezil. I think you're gonna leave Dweezil for me.
Yeah. He's your friend. He's going to watch over.
Oh, I do have one last question I wanted to ask. What kind of effect has tattooing like had on you? I know, but for the people that don't, like, in terms
how do you mean, like work wise?
Your body, work wise, physically, mentally, emotionally.
I have arthritis. I have tendonitis. I have carpal tunnel. And I have sciatica issues, mostly because not many tattoo artists stand when they tattoo. I always do. I don't know why. A lot of it's because I'm short, and then there's other times where it's just.
Show the art again. Show what art again? Show my sleeve again, Kat. Show my sleeve again, Kat. You have to say yes, dear. I love you to death, but I don't speak Ferengi. You can keep going. Yeah, sciatica.
There's a lot of like.
For one of your birthdays, we got you a
massage. That was amazing.
Because it's just a lot.
With the escape room, I was so scared when you first got it because I was afraid it was like a.
Oh, she wants you to show Weasel again.
He's so cute.
My sleeve is beautiful. Thank you, darling. I'll set up a meetup so you guys can meet because I think she has a lot of questions for you because that's what she does. She asks questions.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
I wish more people would ask questions.
That's one thing I did do. I asked Joy a lot of questions, and then she would curse me out slowly.
Well, only because you're you. Like, he'd come in, and I'd be like, oh, my God, shut up. And people would be horrified. And I'd be like, it's okay, we're friends.
This is our process. This is how we work.
I would never talk to, like, an actual person like that. Just Achille. It's my friend. It's fine.
He's okay with it, really, I promise.
Like, that's...
All right, so... There's a lot of things. Let's talk about Steve first.
Steven.
Mr. Steve Katz, my babe.
Your babe. It's gonna be great.
How long ago did you guys meet? It was after
we met in 2010.
Yeah.
And we started dating in 2011, and we were supposed to get married last year.
10 years.
Yeah, we got engaged in.
I was gonna say 9 years. 19.
Yeah, it'll be 11 years in March. Well, February.
Wow.
But we were supposed to get married last year, but COVID. Obviously, and then now it's just like everyone's like, what are you gonna do, and you're planning, and I'm like, no, because he has no opinion until he has an opinion, and then it's very like well, no, I don't do that. And then like one of the places he liked was beautiful, but it was like $11,000. You can only have 60 people.
They gave you a package.
No, only 60 people, and it was only 3 hours. Yeah, I was like,
are you still looking for a venue?
No, I think we're gonna do kind of more of a like my friend Kate did Heckshire Park.
Okay.
Like tents, cater. Catered. So we don't have to because my engagement party was like a lot of work and.
Oh God.
That we basically had an engagement party because we were going to get married in Virginia and we weren't expecting all of our friends and our family to come to Virginia.
I was coming no matter what.
He was gonna come.
I definitely yelled at her. I was like, "You better tell me when it is."
But we had like an engagement party to like celebrate, because you feel bad being like, and then there's also like a limit on people, and so.
Okay.
But yeah, now it's just kind of like, all right, we're like,
in process.
I'm gonna tent and I'm gonna just.
Yeah, they're married though. It's common law.
Yeah,
It's very lovely man.
Yeah, it's
he's
gonna
a
be
very pretty man.
He's very pretty. It's gonna be very interesting when my full name is Joy Love Cats.
That's I think that's very spot on.
It's accurate, but it also makes me sound like I can't speak.
Joy Love Cats.
Joy Love Cats. How are you, Joy Love Cats?
You illustrated a children's book.
I did. I don't know what happened with that.
But you did the illustrations.
I did the illustrations. I finished that. Not supposed to like talk about the title or anything till it's released.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But how was that process? Because you're a big painter and drawer, which I'm sure is normal when you're not.
Yeah. It's exhausting. It was a lot of fun, very gratifying. I hope I can't wait till it's like out.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing. With anything, especially after COVID, everything takes time. So It's like I like completely forgot about that. So you were like, "Hey, how's that going?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
That's awesome.
Hopefully.
Do you prefer painting or drawing?
I like drawing because painting you have to like.
Painting's very hard.
I mean, I like it. It's just that I paint with acrylics because I'm too impatient to wait for oil to dry. Yeah. Like I have to like, and sometimes I get so like overzealous that like the paint's like this high off the canvas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Jen's like, "Is that painting in Braille?"
I can feel the wave. This is great.
What you can pet the dog.
That's cool though.
I like it.
Felting too. You've gotten into felting and you're selling it, and you got
I sell
Etsy Nazi and stuff.
I do the Etsy. I very rarely get orders off that. I got a few orders for custom like dog portraits from Etsy, which I love doing. Mm-hmm. Mostly I do the felting for it's that charity. It's like I have a little like charity. It's called Felting for Friends, and basically like all the.
Does it have a website?
No.
Okay.
It's a Facebook like link.
Okay.
But basically what I do is people send me pictures of their animal. I make, it's, I think it's like 20, 25. Mm-hmm. I think 12 goes directly to the charity and the rest I use for, because, I'll show them. It's,
what is felting?
Yeah. Well, basically I give half to the charity and the other half I use for shipping because I don't charge for shipping and for buying supplies. Mm-hmm. So needle felting is, people are always like, "Oh, is it good for kids?" And I'm like, "No, not at all."
It's
like a needle. The needle's like this long. It's incredibly sharp. I stab myself all the time.
And it's very fine. It's a very fine motor skill.
Yeah. Well, it's a very easy. I guess the word you could use is hobby. Because you're just taking wool and you're molding it. It's like a sculpture, but you're using a needle. I'm trying to pull up a picture of one I've done. You're molding it to like look like the thing you want it to look like, and it's
fun. You do it. You've been doing it.
I do it because I love the animals, and Steve won't let me foster anymore. After that time, I brought home 6 kittens.
Well, you did get a little over attached.
So that's a Felty.
Crazy.
That's a little dog.
Yeah, I know. Because
I found the kittens' homes. It's just the squirrels.
Yeah, tell them about the squirrels.
So I'm a licensed New York State wildlife rehabilitator. And I love possums.
That's really a thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know
You have
that.
to be licensed, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I had 2 squirrels last year. I had Claudius germanicus and Plinius claudeus. They were about 2 weeks apart in age.
It's the process of turning a protein fiber, meaning animal fiber such as sheep wool, alpaca, whatever, into a piece of fabric by connecting the individual fibers.
Basically, step.
Yes.
So then... Plinius had a little head trauma, so he was developmentally delayed, which was great because he wasn't great at being a squirrel. So he'd climb on my arm and lose his balance and just so I was all cut up, and but I loved him. Claude was ready to go. He was like, "Hey mom, thanks, bye, I'm done.
I'm good, I'm out."
Pliny was my little buddy. He slept in my shirt every night. Was always on top of me. He actually had to go to a secondary rehab facility to learn how to squirrel. Yeah. So basically, I fostered him when he was, weaned from the bottle and was eating solid foods and was like sturdy enough to go. He went to a facility that overwintered, which is basically he was with a baby squirrel that was born very late in the season. So they learned how to squirrel off each other. And this squirrel was like not at all people friendly. His name was Benjamin. He was like this big, and he's like spitting at me. He was like, I'm like, really? Like, get out of here. My squirrels are like this big. Yeah. I was like,
I got it. Should have been introduced him to the weasel.
So yeah, plenty overwintered there, and he and the little squirrel were released into the wild in the spring.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the whole point of wildlife foster is to release. NRs are really hard to keep. It's actually not legal to keep a non-releasable animal unless you have a facility, and the facility has to be approved by the wildlife commission. Yeah.
Oh wow. All this stuff I didn't know. You're also a dog whisperer, right? I know you're not technically a dog whisperer, but you're a dog whisperer.
No, I'm a dog trainer.
You're a dog trainer.
Yeah, and I studied canine psychology, behavior. I went to animal behavior college, which is fun, which is exhausting. Dogs
people are exhausting.
People are exhausting. No offense. That's another felty. It's an Akita. Isn't he cute with his little face furrow?
That's awesome. That looks very hard.
Yeah, I guarantee
you. So
when
when she says stuff is easy, she's probably lying.
I have never once said felting is easy. I mean, it's easy enough to do. Like when I first started, I did very simple things and then you get there. Look, you think that's like there's people that do needle felting and they look like they're alive animals, and people are like, can you do that? I'm like, no.
But
hard pass.
You also have a full-time job.
Yes.
Tattooing. Yes. So if you put your effort in, if you weren't a tattooist, and I know you hate that, if you weren't a tattooist, what would you be?
Dog trainer.
If you weren't a dog trainer.
I mean, that's my other job.
What besides animals? What would you do? You got to do something totally different. Be an assassin.
No. Dermatologist.
Really?
I love skin.
Well, that makes sense. Stab. I know, because when.
Although I'm not great at schooling. Come on, realistic. So yeah, these are. Why does my phone hate your internet?
Are you connected to it?
I don't know.
No,
I don't
you're
know
not.
What life is.
No,
okay, that's terrifying. I don't like that.
Hold on 1 second, people. We're gonna have a technical. So while you're doing that, Joy, tell the wonderful people about your love for all things like American History X and American Horror Story. Sorry.
The show. Trying too hard. It makes me tired.
American Horror Story, but you like documentaries and stuff like that.
I love documentaries. I'm a huge history buff.
Yes, I know.
Hey, it's good.
Good.
Love history. I love crypto. I love paranormal. I'm like a nerd in that, like a total nerd in that aspect. So yeah, that's not. That's a photograph of the fox. Get out of here. Don't lie to the internet.
So she likes these kind of.
This is like what other people do in needle felting. Like, get out of here. I do not have the patience to get to that level.
Because you're so far off. So when you talk about like these documentaries, and you like historical ones too, right?
Yes, I love history.
She loves history, and she likes all of these real life. Do you watch any like true crime podcasts or?
Yeah, I actually one. There's one I really like, but it kind of annoys me too because they have these like the way they tell the story is great, but they have these voice actors and they're terrible. Like they're just terrible, and it's just like it's supposed to be like in the 1930s, and they're like, I saw him go over that. Like it's just so but the storytelling is great. It's called Solve Murders, and then Haunted Places is probably one of my other favorites. But I'm very old, like in technology and whatnot. So it's like I have YouTube, and I subscribe to YouTube.
I have the
YouTubes. So I follow like a lot of. Actually, there's just one really great channel. It's called Ask a Mortician, and her name is Caitlin Doty, and she is a mortician from California, and she's hilarious and incredibly smart. And if my eye doesn't stop twitching, I'm going to scream. It has been twitching for a month straight.
Well, you already talked about how to strengthen your eye muscle, but you don't listen.
How does one strengthen an eye muscle?
By focusing on a pencil. I told you this. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is what we do.
Does it have to be a pencil?
No, it could be a pen if that makes you happy. If that makes your heart content. So you like the docs. You love the horror docs. We talked about Archer.
Love it.
We
Archer's hilarious. Really, really sad about Jessica Walters. I kind of hope this is the last season though, because all the characters in Archer are great, but they work best like together.
Yeah.
So like not having Jessica Walters on it anymore, I feel like it's gonna
die out.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's. I feel. First of all, I feel like it'll make me sad. It's like when a really good character leaves a show, and you're just like.
How long has Archer been on?
God, I think it started in like 2008 or 9.
Is it that long?
Which does not see. I keep thinking like that was. I'm like, oh, that's like last year. Like no, the other day I wrote 2013 on a form.
Why?
I was like 10, 19, 13, and I was like, okay. That's Caitlin Doty. She's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
She's fantastic. I don't know. My brain just does things. I think I might, like, I asked Dana, I was like, can you become dyslexic later in life? She's like, no, not unless you've had a severe head trauma. I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Probably all the hockey and...
The dog with my black eye. Did I show you the black eye Tifa gave me?
Yes.
Oh, my God. She literally just, my dog is like a 70-something pound shepherd, and she's a big sweetheart. She's goofy. And she came running in the bedroom and jumped up on the bed, and I went to sit up to greet her, and she just slammed her giant head into my face. And the next day, me and Steve had to go look at a wedding venue, and my whole eye socket is swollen and black and blue. And I was like, these people are not going to rent us this venue. Like,
you're going to be like, there's abuse going on here.
Oh, and my ankle was bleeding because I wore a pair of shoes the day before, and then I accidentally like just grabbed him and put him on the next, and just like sliced into the same spot. Someone's like, oh, your ankle's.
Are you okay?
Bleeding. I was like, I'm fine. I'm like, you know me. I'm like, I'm fine. Don't even worry about it. Thank you. It's
thanks, Frenchie. Cheers.
Oh my God, the French taunter. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's quite the interesting fella.
Yeah, his mother was a hamster. Damn it. His father was a hamster, and his mother smelled like elderberry. Hell no. I know what I'm talking about. So this is my dog Tifa. She's insane. She's a little maniac. She has mostly ears. We rescued her last December.
Yes. How old's Tifa now?
She just turned 2 in September.
Yeah, I feel like that's.
They kept saying to me, they were like, "Oh, she's a shepherd mix," and I was like, "I worked at a breeding facility with shepherds for years. Like, what do you think she's mixed with?" She's like, "Well, she's a black and tan shepherd, and she's a white shepherd." I was like, "That's just a shepherd." It's like, well, I'm not human. Well, how's that again? Well, my father was black and my mother was white. Like, nope, still a person. Like, still a German shepherd. I don't know if that one works as well. I apologize. I'm bad at analogies.
That was a great
really
analogy.
Bad at analogies.
That was a great analogy.
You know, it's like when you're trying to play tennis, but the guacamole's already turned brown. You're welcome.
I don't know what's going on right now. Save me. Let's see. As we wrap up in the last couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I've been chatty chat.
That's good. When you mean sorry, that's nothing to be apologizing for.
This is my husband and the dog. Wait, there you go. She owns him. That's her favorite person on earth, and I don't exist.
How did you? I know you did hockey.
Yeah.
Do you
Let's
also
do that hockey?
Huh?
Let's do that hockey.
And they played the Hawkers. Did you also do MMA?
Very, 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 very briefly.
But you did it.
I did.
How did you get into that? Do you still watch?
Ex-boyfriend.
Oh, you still?
He was very he did like a lot of martial arts, and I always wanted to do kickboxing, but every time it was like, oh, we have classes this hours and this, and like, oh, good, all the hours that I work. Now, though, my schedule's a little more free, like especially
because you control it.
Well, yeah, like now, like I said, if I'm done at 6 o'clock, I'm done at 6 o'clock. If I want to, the other day I accidentally double booked myself. And I told the guy, I was like, I'll come in now. It was like 11:30. I was like, I'll come in right now. I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, and I had a cancellation the next day. He's like, it's fine. I can do the next day. I was like, are you sure?
No.
And then I tattooed his entire throat for like 2 hours. And he's like, change my mind. Wish this was yesterday.
Oh, tattooing.
And it's nowhere near done. We're doing the Aurora Borealis on his neck. And it's so pretty. And his skin is really good for it. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, he's. Isn't it pretty? It's nowhere near done.
Wow.
But, yeah, but like, look how well his skin. You can see here where it was starting to be like, no. So this is get out of here. This is what happens when you can see how far it's raised off the skin. That it's basically, and it happens so quick. It's like, okay, this is going good. It's going good. Skin's doing great. And now we're done. And
That's
people are
great.
like, it doesn't hurt. I'm like, I can keep stabbing you all you want. Carter, hi, Bubba.
Oh, God.
Hi, puppy. Come here. Come here, come here. Oh, thank you for sweet kisses. You're such a love. I'm such a good boy. I'm such a good boy. I love his little smush face.
Yeah.
And having thumb touches. Good boy. Good.
So she's playing with the dog now, and this is what she
not
does.
Say hi. It's rude.
Shut up, dog. Stop. All right. As we wrap up. What's it like working with all women?
I
know that was one of the things that
we are all very similar. It's kind of funny because I'm either like super happy and like bubbly, or I'm like, I hate everything and everyone and everything, and this is how I die. So Stacy is very like upbeat, happy, always good.
Yeah.
And Jen is too, but Jen tends to lean towards my side of the person of like Stacy and I are like dogs. Me and Jen are like cats. Like it's like sometimes like this one person came in that didn't end up getting tattooed. They were very, very rude. Like yeah. And Stacy handled it beautifully. But me and Jen were just texting each other like, and then somebody else will come in and me and Stacey are like, I love this person. You're my new best friend. Yeah, you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you very, we have some clients that, we talk and people are like, oh, wow, you must have really bad clients. And I'm like, no, we have amazing clients for the most part. It's just the ones that we talk about. It's because they're that bad.
Wow.
Like the one that called Stacy, like he missed his appointment and then he came in and was mad that he didn't have an appointment that day. And she's like, oh, your appointment was last week. And he's like, no, it's not. And she's like, it's like right here. It's in my schedule. Like, and he's like flipped out, started cursing at her. And we were like, you made a mistake. It's okay. Like, there's no need to curse at us.
We're wrong.
Like,
it's okay. Deal with it.
It happens. I've had people like show up and I'm like, your appointment's actually next Tuesday. And they're like, okay. That's not the end of the world. Mistakes happen. But like, yeah, very rarely. Or we had this woman, Amy Louise, that would come in mostly naked and look like she was 80, but she was only like 50. And she would just get random names tattooed on her. And we'd be like, oh, who's Louise? She's like, it's just a pretty name.
I love it. What are some of the craziest tattoo requests you've gotten?
I don't really get too many anymore. You used to. Now it's kind of like... I get like fun things where people are like, I know it's weird, but I'm like, no, I love it. Let's do that. Like somebody's like, I really want to get like a pickle wearing a top hat. I'm like, absolutely. You need a pickle with a top hat. Let's do that. I do a lot of like handwriting, which I love doing. I love handwriting. Some people will have like, I really want the word like love in my mom's handwriting, but I don't have it written out. I'm like, do you have like a card she wrote you? And if it's enough letters, I can pick it out and like make it, nice. Which is what I did with my dad's handwriting on my ankle. Oh, nice. But, some people will be like, this one woman came in and she wanted her mother's signature, but the only signature she had from her mom was on her driver's license. And her mother's name was Ann, A-N-N. And it was written like this big. Oh, wow. And then she wanted her mother's maiden name, not the name that was on the driver's license. And I was like, do you have that written out? And she's like, no. I was like, we can't really just make it up. It's handwriting. And then I said, what if we just do Anne? Like, I'm going to have to make it bigger. And she's like, I want it from here to here. And I was like, there is no physical way that I can make Anne this big. Like, I cannot do it. And she was like, I just really wanted it today. And I was like, I know it's important to you today, but it's going to be there forever. And if it's something that important, like as your mother, like we can figure out something. I said, just, I'm sure if your mother died and you're in charge of her estate, you can find other documents and, lettering and, we can make it work. And, but again, it all goes back to not wanting to do something that isn't going to last. Or, people are like, I know it's silly, but it's like, yeah, but if it's something for you who, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't want Joker tattoos. That's something you like, I know. What a stupid thing I've said. Everybody wants a Joker tattoo. Yeah, but to you, that's what you're in. Like nobody else wants a weasel tattoo. But I love them. And I know
you're all about the weasels. He's.
Oh, my possum tattoo. I can't wait to get my possum tattoo.
Oh my God, you and these animals.
It's going to be in a trash can. It's going to say, live fast, eat trash.
All right, so I don't.
Enough.
I don't even know what to say after that.
Devil's one.
The devil's one. That's good. I think we talked about all the
I
things.
know. I think so.
I think we
Squirrels,
talked about
possums, murder.
Yeah, that's.
He's like, for the beginning of the episode, we like, what would you rather be, a serial killer? Or I'm like,
That's my first question for every episode.
And he's like, we don't advocate murder here. I was like,
we don't advocate murdering kids.
Because the weasel killed 27 children.
Kids, yes. All right, so I
He's
guess.
Like, and that's enough.
Last question. If you could be any superhero, supervillain, who would you be and why?
Weasel.
Okay, why?
He makes the cutest noises. He's just like, and he goes, he's never been more ashamed to be my friend.
Oh my God.
That was my possum. Her name was Nora.
I love it.
Isn't she cute? She died.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the other thing, the death.
Yeah, you're all about the death.
Well, because it keeps coming up.
It does. So, Miss Weasel, I thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You are amazing and
Sorry,
awesome.
I was a little late because that haunted house.
Nobody cares. It's fine. You were on time for the show.
I kind of want to go though. It seemed cool.
So you should go.
Chambers of Hell, not now.
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about.
But like people didn't understand that the expressway is like a one-way road, so it's like backed up because people are like, "I'm gonna go this way."
They're like, "Oh, let's just kill him.
Just go anywhere." I was like, "Okay, I need to get there alive, so I'm just gonna stay in this lane."
Mr. Matt, can you bring up Joy's information, please?
He's like, "Get this woman out of my house."
I would never say that.
Because I gave you this amazing weasel portrait.
Right. If you're interested in finding out about a tattoo,
or more information about Weasel,
please do not contact her about Weasel, but you can if you really feel the need.
So
her Instagram, her Facebook. Her Instagram is Gordy9, number 9.
But the word number spelled out because, you know.
Because she's special. And Facebook is Joy Love Edwards. Impulsive is the name of her tattoo place. It's in the New Yorks. It's in the Ronkonkoma.
Just remember not to be impulsive about tattoos.
Yes.
It's just a name.
Yeah, I would definitely say take your time when you're going to pick out a tattoo. Find an artist that you trust. It helps.
Ask questions. Look at artwork.
Yes, please go look at tattoos. Look how they're going to look on the skin, on a person where you want to get it. Again, I've been through it in most places, on my arms, on my chest, on my back. So I have an idea, usually enjoyable, usually be like, okay, this is going to hurt a lot. And that's what she says. I
wouldn't say that to like, you know, a client that I didn't know personally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, sit down and shut up.
Yeah. She thoroughly enjoys tormenting my life. Hello, Mr. Nails.
Aww.
That's his name, Jimmy Nails. It's my guy.
I was saying all about the squirrel.
I know. I got to meet her someday. You will, Catherine. We already discussed this. That's a conversation we literally just had, dear. I'm going to need you to keep up. I love her, though. She's amazing. Yes. October slate. Next week, Mental Health Roundtable. Saturday at 9 o'clock. It says 8, but I think it's going to be 9. Glenn's going to be on. Kristen's going to be on. Mr. Nails is going to be present. We're going to talk about mental health issues and there's been a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of crazy. Can you pop up the November slate, please, Mr. Matt? Randy's actually going to be on the 3rd. That is a Wednesday. Austin Kramer. We're going to have a basketball roundtable on the 20th. And then Max, one of Mr. Fishbeck's really good friends, who's quite an interesting fella, is going to be on November 29th at 10 p.m. Again, reach out to Joy if you have tattoo questions.
Or want to talk about Weasel.
Oh, you want to talk about Weasel, or you have felting requests just because she keeps talking about the Weasel. I'm going to talk about the felting. I don't know what to tell you guys. But Joy, thank you. You're the best.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
This is my sayonara, so it's just me. Tattoos have a power, magic all they own. They decorate the body, but they also enhance the soul. Michelle DeLeo. So, go get a tattoo. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it. And, in the words of the immortal Mork, Nanu Nanu, Joker out.
Oh.